But I guess I'm gonna go smoke a cigarette real quick while we're waiting for everyone to get on. I do kind of think maybe we could pick up a little bit of a topic. Yeah, David, what were you just talking about a moment ago? What were you just talking about before I interrupted?
Um,
Using my rage and relentless attack,
yeah,
so that way I can use my dex bonus from being a rogue.
yeah, just helping him optimize. Trying to javelin everything when he can just be the angry fencer.
So let's talk about rogue. Let's talk about rogue builds. I have a personal favorite rogue build. I'm very partial to an arcane trickster. I love when you tie all the things that a thief can do with a little bit of magic, and it's just beautiful.
I am a fan of the swashbuckler myself,
Yes.
but then again, me, I have a I have a little bit of a background with fencing and rapier fighting, so it has a special place in my heart.
I second Swashbuckler.
I think one of my characters that I played with you, Patrick, was actually a variant of a rogue. Hexblade?
Hexblade is a warlock. Um, I was going to say something about when you were saying like warlock, where a hexblade is somewhat roguish. It's like, yeah, I could see that. I mean, if you're going to do like a multi-class build, a a, a using a warlock and a swashbuckler, using a hexblade swashbuckler would be disgusting because um, a swashbuckler is a dex charisma build, and one of the best warlock builds are charisma dex.
And forgive me, what I'm thinking is hex blood, not hex blade,
Ah,
which hex blood is technically roguish in origin, whereas hex blade is
hex isn't that isn't hex blood a variant class,
what is it?
variant race?
I believe it's some sort of addition that came with the critical role. In fact,
You might be thinking Duskborn. No, Duskborn. I think it's something else.
Blood Hunter.
The character was either a hexblade or I want to say it was a duskblade.
Blood Hunter is
Either way, he had a gem embedded in his body that he could use to pretty much create any bladed weapon.
Yeah, about your Dusk Blade. Do you remember the name you gave your Dusk Blade?
I do not. I barely even remember that character.
I hated the name that you gave your Dusk Blade. It's the most unimaginative name, even less imaginative than Chad. It was Bob.
That's right, Bob.
Bob was a half fiend from 3.5. Duskblade from his homebrew content that he found. Eventually, throughout the game, he eventually obtained basically very fiendish powers from a very chaotic god. And he is what we now know as Ball.
Oh, I remember this conversation. That's right.
And Ball has his importance in this story.
Ball is the one
Yay.
that my gnome teleported the half-drow paladin onto Ball's back, so she surfed him down.
Yeah. Yeah, it was pretty epic. It was like Gandalf fighting a Balrog fight. Man, it was pretty awesome. But it was Nadaline, this paladin, riding this pit fiend down into the. It was the elemental plane of fire, so it was just basically down into endless fire. You know, there was no real end. It was just, let's go down now. We'll just continue going down for a long, long time. Of course, Paul would bleep out of existence at that moment in time and make his way back to a very unhappy place.
Yeah, but having a half-drow paladin of vengeance, riding on his back while beating him with a magic sword, that was fun.
We saw Ball return again towards the end of that campaign. You guys had another run-in with him. Lady Vel helped out by banishing him, using high-level magic to banish him and his minion moving from the battlefield. It was an epic affair. Chris should be getting on momentarily. He was the one that did the writing. With one in his Nadaline pants.
It is hilarious to hear about old characters that we made back in the day and come to find out other people have interacted with them and whatnot.
Yeah, that's how I do that. You remember
I love it.
Jarlaxle, right? You remember the name Jarlaxle, right?
Yes.
Well, that was David's character.
Okay.
So you guys have closer ties than you guys think through me and the way I DM. Basically, I keep everything. I keep the stories that we do together. They become the history of my world, or at least laced within it. And your characters help populate it.
See, with this being 100 years past the last campaign, I am really curious to see what the fight for goblin equality has developed.
There are places in this world.
So there was a certain organization that you had in one of the campaigns, and it stuck with me all this time. Well, they might have been resurrected in another campaign by me. My current DM is not too happy that there is now pretty much a league of assassins in his world. So I do have to say thank you for that one. It's a great idea.
Curtis is finishing up with his pup, and he'll be on momentarily.
They even go as far as leaving the handprints in locations so that way that certain people can find them.
I've learned to, I had been for a while just retrieving all my files, recorded files from Twitch, uploading them there, and then moving them over to my other computer and doing all those things. And it turned out to be an extra step I really didn't need to do. And it was painstaking because sometimes my stream would be interrupted by unstable internet. And so I'd have to patch those together, and I'd lose a little bit of content. But so instead, I'm recording as well as streaming, which is really nice. Fun. little things we want. Been did some work in some video editing over the holiday weekend. Gotta get back into the EU. Caught up. I'm a couple episodes behind still.
Oh, come on.
We have a great. How you doing, Chris? Chris, can you hear me? Can anyone hear me?
I can hear you.
Yes. I can hear
Okay.
you also.
May just chill. He's having connectivity issues. He sometimes does. I'm sure he'll figure it out momentarily. So, what is it about the swashbuckler that you guys love so much?
The fact that the swashbuckler is basically
Can you hear me now?
yes,
Yes.
we can hear you.
Yeah, my cat had chewed on the cords on my computer, so I had to unplug the webcam. I totally forgot it was unplugged, and it's my it's my mic right now.
So what I like, so what I was like I was saying, what I like about the swashbuckler is the fact that it is not the sneaky, the old, the stereotypical sneaky. I'm going to, hide in the shadows like a coward and then hit you in the, find the opportune time to hit you. It's not like that. Dude from Conan the Destroyer. I can never remember the character's name. But it's more of the in your face. I'm going to talk mad crap about you and aggravate you to the point where you can't think straight, and I am going to poke you so full of holes that we can use you we can use you as a cheesecloth, and when we're done. Bless you.
That's a very interesting take. Thank you, David. What about you, Matt? What makes you love the swashbuckler? Is it the same reasons?
So sorry, Matt is busy.
Matt is probably being daddy right now.
Yes, sorry, Matt's busy.
Like I said, he's probably being daddy.
What about you, Cody? What's your favorite rogue archetype? Or are you just learning about the rogue?
No, I've been playing rogues for a while now. Probably have to say either the assassin or I believe it's the not remember the name for it. But every time something dies, you can get a soul trinket. Trying to find it right now.
Oh, is that the Phantom?
Yes, I believe so.
And why are those your favorites? What is it about them that makes it your favorite?
Because you don't really realize how much death actually happens around you until you get like something for every death you witness. I think by the end of that, yeah, just horrible.
Okay.
Pretty much
Yeah.
tallies up how much massacring your character and your party has done. You were supposed to just be talking to him.
So Chris, what we've been discussing is rogue. What's our favorites and why? Do you have a favorite rogue archetype?
Rogue archetype. It's funny because most of my experience with that class was in second edition, and that was when they were still called thieves. I guess I find I like the basic like burglar / pickpocket type. When I'm
So that would
when
be
I'm
thief.
really just a regular thief type. For I like the guild atmosphere, like the thieves guild atmosphere, and the sneaking and the hiding in shadows and the trap thing and being able to pick locks and the pickpocket aspect, and you can end up really interacting in a street setting or a bar or a really crowded community area. I like that aspect of the character. I like how the lack of like skill, at least in old school, it didn't have powers like spell abilities and didn't have a lot of it had basic fighter or combat rankings, but it wasn't over the top. You could fight, but what made that class really interesting and fun was all the different side skills and things you can do and all the different abilities that came with it. I like that aspect. And like the other person was just talking about, and I mean, I haven't heard anybody talk about the assassin in a long time, but back in second edition, it was actual another class. But I really like the assassin class too because of the disguise, and you could be just about anybody. You could really use a lot of different aspects. Some of my more favorite evil characters to play back in the day were assassins, assassin priest, and assassin mage combos. It made being able to do that type of character class and maybe pull a job or something really fun and entertaining. I haven't played an actual rogue or assassin in a game in a long, long time. But there just depends on the party structure too. Sometimes it's difficult to play one because if you have a mixed group in your group, say like let's say you have a paladin in your group, and then you have a priest of some good alignment, and then you have the other varying groups players like maybe a bard and a fighter and so on. If you're that one rogue archetype, they like you for the fact that you can pick locks and detect traps and do things, but if you're doing what you want to do sometimes, they don't like it. So you have to be really on your game and really kind of in tune with what your other players are doing to be able to play your character properly without causing a whole lot of strife in your group and a lot of stuff you ended up doing behind people's back. Um, there was a couple books back in the day. It was like kind of there was a character named Tasselhoff Burfoot. He was in the Dragonlance series. He seemed to always be holding everybody's stuff, and people just got to the point where like, oh, he's got it. There was always fun parts about thieves, Might as well just let him carry all the money because one way or the other, he's going to end up with whatever he wants anyway. But yeah, I don't know if that answered the question or if I just rambled on beyond what you wanted.
No, you're fine. That's awesome. I love the information, the feedback I'm getting. Um,
Yeah, I mean, one of the things. Yeah, you're right about though with a rogue though. One of the things you have to be careful of is, you know, be mindful that you of if you are going to steal from the party, because that is a cardinal sin.
It's generally something that if you actually are with the party and you're actually trying to be beneficial to that party, you generally make them off limits. And
Yeah.
you usually kind of safeguard them from other people in your line of work as well. Now, everybody else, not so much. But
Yeah. Yeah. So you see these 5 guys over here? I like these guys. They're off limits.
yeah. And there's sometimes where if you're a rogue and you meet a party, you're not telling them you're a rogue. You're like, hey, I'm just I'm pretty decent with a sword, and I can get into places that might be harder for other people to get into, or
Like
open.
Chad.
Yeah, but just depends. It's a real fine line you walk.
Oh yeah.
And the other part of it is, and this is the downside of playing a rogue in a mixed party, because if you want the whole aspect of what a thief or a thieves guild brings, it's very difficult to do it for a DM when only one player is playing that character. Now, I'm not saying it's not doable, but there's a lot of things that have to be sidebar style stuff, or a lot of things that are note passed or some private messages back and forth, and some side deals going on, because you might be going along with a party as a thief in a group to have on some big mission, but then your guild says, hey, since you're going to be in that town, you need to grab this in that building while you're there and bring it back with you, and we'll give you twice your normal cut if you can pull that off. So that might be even, and it's a lot of DMs tend to just not have a lot of function toward individual players. It's something that when I run a game, and David and Pat know, especially Pat, I try to give every character and their class, I try to give them something that's unique to them, so that they're able to do stuff where their character's concerned, but still have something going on in a whole group function as well. That way as well, let's say I have a group get together and there's not enough people to play the session I was going to play. Everybody's always got something going on they could be doing, and sometimes it can be worked into a little mini adventure or something on the side. But rogues are one of those classes that you have to kind of, it's the person running the game has to really be able to maneuver what's going on with them and other players at the same time, or else you can lose that character. And when you have all these characters that can cast spells and they're using all these really cool magic items, there's a lot of items that aren't fit for a rogue or a thief to use, and that are not geared toward them, with the exception of like bags of holding and rings of invisibility and the basic stuff. But they can fall between the cracks and really kind of feel like they're like the odd man out in a group, because it's not generally a power class, if you follow what I'm saying when I say a power class.
Yeah, I completely agree with the whole aspect of the Thieves Guild and all that entails. It's a whole different world. And as you said, it could be a world that is not comfortable for certain classes to be in, to say the least. and those interactions should be a little more tongue in cheek. Agreed. That's totally. But yeah, it's always fun when you get into playing, the different rogue archetypes and so forth.
The one thing, you had your headphones off when I said it, Pat. The one thing I closed with on there was a big part of it is if the DM isn't really aware of everything going on, it's really easy for a person playing a rogue or an assassin or some sort of class in that format or a kit in that format to get lost between the cracks because they're not typically a power class. And a lot of magic items are geared toward them. And it's almost where when I DM, I'll create unique items to give to different characters so they have something that fits their character class. But in some cases, there's a lot of times when you play games where the DM is just very vanilla and it's just a cut and dry deal. And you're playing your class and it is what it is. And you're just luck of the draw. I'll take that if I can get it. And if I can use it, great. But there's aspects of the game that get lost with certain character types based on what's going on in each particular game and with each particular DM. And a lot of times I'll play classes based on what a party needs and what I think the DM is going to make more enjoyable for me. And a lot of times knowing your players and your DM is huge. You got to know what you're dealing with so you can make sure that your self view of your character you can translate to a DM so that DM can provide the right experience for you. Or else you might have an idea for what you want to do with your character, but if you can't let the guy running the game know what you have in mind and what you're looking for in the game, one, they can't do anything for you if they don't know. And if you're just hoping that DM is going to do stuff that's in the realm that you want going on, kind of going to miss out. So a lot of it has to do with communicating with the DM as to what you're looking for with your character and what you have in mind that you want to do.
It's been a little while since we played Nightfall. Been a couple of weeks. It always is. Does anyone want to go ahead and get started with a recap of what happened the last time we played?
Oh boy.
Fun session, wasn't it?
Oh yeah.
Take us through it.
Oh, wait. I was not here. I got to fill in. I can't wait to hear David's version of this.
So, as we were starting, Dell was talking to some of the people from the boat who were coming from Chimeria about the volcano and the water supply, and now there is a giant protective magical dome over the village. Dell had then seen the troll that was being the dismembered and messed up troll that was brought through and flipped their shit.
Was that the troll we had killed at the water?
Okay. The one you killed in the woods? Yeah.
That's the one.
Yeah, it's just like, because it was like, here, make stuff for me. And that was like the last straw. Dell flipped out. It's like, I'm done. Everybody get your stuff. Get out of my house. I don't want anything else to do with any of you. Ow, cat climbing.
Yeah, I just went down because she was doing the same thing to me.
Yeah, but I don't want to. She's old and bony, so. After having a conversation with Lucius, he's kind of cool with Dell. The straw that actually did it was while Dell was having a rant, Willow decided to cast Tasha's Hideous Laughter on Dell to try to calm them down.
Oh, that's a bad idea.
Yeah, that was the final straw. Because it's like, okay, you guys are making demands of me, bringing strange animals and creatures into my house. messing with my